Online is one of the easiest and most popular ways to plan a vacation. However, the Better Business Bureau says scammers know that too, and they're creating fake listings to steal your money. The BBB says scammers take pictures of homes posted on the internet and then use them to create their own fake listing. They get you to send them money and then don't fulfill their end of the bargain because they don't really have access to the home they've listed. The BBB says the scammers will also use houses that are on sale, which makes identifying the scam more difficult because their addresses match up with the fake listing. The Better Business Bureau's best piece of advice? Well, joining us now is Cathi Banks, who is a travel expert. Cathi, what's the best advice you can give to us to avoid being scammed?
Well, the very best advice I can give you is to remember the advice your mother always gave you, and that is, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is.
So if it's a 10,000 square foot mansion on the ocean with a 4,000 square foot swimming pool that's perfect temperature and it's $100 a month, we should be very wary of that.
That probably should send a red flag, yes, sir.
What other ways are people getting our money illegally?
There's never a shortage of criminals and shysters and so forth. Basically, some of the biggest scams there's scams that happen before your travel to get you out of your travel planning money, and then there's scams that go on while you're on your trip. But basically, before you travel, one of the biggest ones that's been going on for years and years is what we in the industry call Cardinal Scams. And everyone's seen them. Hey, come be a travel agent for $495. You can get all these travel perks and so forth. And those are just absolutely nothing but a scam. They always have been, and people fall for them all the time.
With the advent of the Internet, is that making the scammers multiply many times over versus back when you had to take out ads, in a newspaper or magazine?
Well, sure, it's gotten more affordable, and you get to be behind this cloak of secrecy. You can be just some scammer in your mother's basement somewhere, and you can make these Craigslist ads and just different sorts of ads or websites, which brings me to another point, and that is one big way to stay away from scams is to have a relationship with a local travel agent that you go to year after year. You know who she is, she knows who you are, and that goes a long way toward keeping you away from a lot of scams.
So what should we look for if we're even going through our local travel agent and you see an ad for a summer cabin wherever, and you're interested in renting that for a week in the winter and skiing up in the Rockies or being on a lake somewhere, how can we be sure that we're not being scammed?
Well, one big red flag is if they won't take credit cards. If that ad insists that you wire money directly to the owner, we're not really a business, we just want to rent out our home. If they won't take a credit card, that's a huge red flag. Because what happens is you wire money to these people, and then you never hear from them again. You never even get the address to the house. I mean, and the house never existed, so it wasn't like there was an address to get. But, using your credit card gives you a layer of protection, because if there's any kind of fraudulent situation, your credit card will step in and rectify that for you. So using your credit card is a big deal.
Are there people that do not take credit cards? I'm surprised by that.
Well, that's what these scammers do. They create a situation where they convince you that it's reasonable for them not to accept a credit card, and that's the thing, is they don't want you to have any recourse against them.
I'm wondering how many people have, for example, here in Colorado, they have cabins in the mountains, and they want to rent it out for a week here and a week there, or a month in the winter or the summer or whatever the case may be, and they're just, ma and pa that have a cabin that don't take credit cards.
Well, anybody can get a PayPal. At least have a PayPal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense. How prevalent is this?
It's prevalent enough that the Better Business Bureau needed to put out an alert about it.
That's frightening.
Yeah, absolutely. If it's too good to be true, if it looks too good to be true, it just is.
Cathi, if people want to learn more about this, or is there a place we can go to find out? What to avoid?
The Better Business Bureau themselves put out an article about it, so you can search for that. The American Society of Travel Agents has a really good article about how to avoid all kinds of travel scams. So there are articles all over the place, and I can talk for hours about how to avoid getting scammed before and during your vacation.
How are people getting scammed during the vacation?
Pickpockets, of course, are a perennial favorite. Take precautions so that you're not a target for a pickpocket, including, remember that pickpockets usually travel with a partner and they create a diversion. So if something starts happening around you, the first thing you need to think about is, hey, is somebody trying to pickpocket me? Also, there's a scam called the imposter scam where you can be in your hotel room, the phone rings, and they say, oh, this is the front desk, we had a computer malfunction, can you read me your credit card number again because I lost it out of the system. And guess what? It's not the front desk. So don't fall for that.
Wow.
Phony Wi-Fi hotspot. You get on, oh, look, there's a free hotspot. Well, guess what? It's the guy over in the corner with a personal hotspot, and he's there getting your bank passwords and stuff. So don't fall for that.
How would you know? How would you possibly know that it's a fake Wi-Fi?
Well, the place where you are, okay, say you're sitting in a coffee shop or something, walk up to the counter and say, hey, what is your Wi-Fi called? And ask them rather than,
That makes sense. Cathi, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. 618, Cathi Banks, travel expert.